Hey everybody, I'm Caleb Maupin,
I am Peter Coffin.
and we are here to make a special appeal to you because if you're watching this video, you probably already know about this book, Kamala Harris and the Future of America. Well, we've put out a new edition of it with a great cover designed by Peter Coffin, and we are going to be distributing it at the Democratic National Convention.
This is a book that's very obviously important. It's got a lot of information. It was not written recently. Caleb did a ton of research into Kamala Harris back in 2020 when Joe Biden was the candidate for president. And honestly, there's a lot to learn about her. She's a fascinating figure, but she's also, not somebody you really want for president. I don't know if you want Donald Trump instead, but Kamala Harris is potentially a big problem as president. And the DNC, while they're definitely not going to change their minds about her at this point, there are going to be people who don't know these things about her. And if she does end up being our president, it will be important that we do understand all of these things about her. We're trying to distribute this at the DNC, and that isn't logistically or monetarily necessarily the easiest thing to do in the world.
Yes, as soon as Kamala Harris got the nomination, Amazon removed the book, and it was down from Amazon for 7 days. A huge amount of outrage came up. Jimmy Dore, Kim Iverson, all kinds of people spoke up, and now it's back up on Amazon. So we have this new edition with the cover that Peter designed, with a new introduction talking about the censorship, and we have 1,000 copies to distribute at the DNC. But the main thing is we need your support. So if you can take the time to give us a one-time contribution to the GoFundMe link down below, that would be amazingly helpful. Help us offset the cost. We have a team of volunteers that are ready to distribute it. But getting the books printed, getting them all to Chicago, getting the volunteers there to hand them out, etc., has not been cheap. So we are just asking for your support. If you can make a contribution via the GoFundMe link down below, you can support our continuing efforts, and we do appreciate it. Obviously, if they wanted to take this book down from Amazon as soon as Kamala got the nomination, there's something in it that people really need to hear.
Honestly, this was the first text of yours I think I read. I bought this after you had appeared on one of my podcasts back in 2020. And honestly, it's kind of how I learned that you were the kind of Marxist that you are. It's a much more detailed, and I know some people assume that it's probably very partisan, or that it's yelling about her or it's attacking her. In a lot of ways, there are some things that are pretty sympathetic towards her in it, but it is obviously an expose and a critique as well. I don't know. It's a book that I thought was really good. And I was like, why aren't more communists or leftists or whatever? Why aren't they reading this? Why don't they understand this stuff is important? Because it is very important. It's clearly important, like Caleb said a second ago, that it's enough for them to actually not want it on there. Like if you remember back during COVID, there were a lot of critical books that were taken down, whether you agree with them or not. We live in a country where that shouldn't happen. It's the type of thing where the experience of, I didn't have the book myself, but talking to you throughout it had to have been like just weird. I've never had any of my stuff banned from public consumption in any way. So it kind of, and the way that you described how it got banned, the fact that they did it by claiming the cover had some kind of a problem, it was all just so bizarre. And the way I see it, it's important to get it out there, even though it's back up on Amazon now for whatever reason. I think probably because of A, all of the attention that you got for this, and B, all of the attention that they've got for taking down other things, not just Amazon, but the mainstream media taking down critical content of Kamala. It probably looks bad to do this type of thing. And banning books never looks good, honestly. But I don't know. I just think that it's really important. I think that it doesn't take a lot of money, even, $5, $10. It's all helpful because, again, this takes people, this takes shipping, it takes renting of vehicles, it takes, I think, hotels. Like there's stuff that needs to go into this that it's logistically, again, and monetarily, not just something that we can do. Like, you don't just go, we're going to pass this out at the DNC. Like, the books had to be printed also. Like,
Yes.
Caleb did a pretty substantial order that, again, we're passing out 1,000 of these things. That's not easy to pay for. So again, anything helps. Just, whatever you can do, even if it's not a lot, we really do appreciate it. There's a link to the GoFundMe in the description of this video. Anything helps. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody.